Last week, I asked you to vote on which of my locos would be the next to receive the DCC decoder upgrade. Voting was very close. It boiled down to two main candidates, the Chesney system and the Lehigh Valley. Voting was extremely close, but we do have a winner, and that winner is... Hello YouTubes. So, the loco that received the most votes for the DCC decoder update was the Chesney system. Let's get into it. Let's see if I can remember how to get into this. Right. I don't see any screws along the bottom, but I've definitely been in here before because I installed an LED in the front. I know that this comes off eventually with a bit of persuasion. Like so. We've got two screws there. I'm not sure if they're just holding on the weight or if they are holding on the shell to the chassis. Nope, still not coming off. Oh, there we go. Try and be careful. It's kind of getting hung up on the coupler, just the very edge of the coupler. It's okay. Right, so we have wires inside that I have already installed for the LED lighting. And it looks like I've actually installed front and rear facing lights, so they should work just fine when I install the decoder. Let me just make sure. No, I think I've wired it so that all the lights come on at the same time, unfortunately, so I'll need to rewire that. Not to worry, let's get on with this. Yeah, so I've only got one connection for the lights, so I'm going to remove them. As far as everything else is concerned, let's see now. I can't remember if this motor is grounded to the chassis like the Athearn blue boxes are. So just to be on the safe side, I'm going to remove this little motherboard. I would like to use this if possible because ideally I could just wire the decoder directly to these solder points and these solder points and then stick the decoder on the top. A very small decoder. I'm not going to have any issues with space because basically that's my decoder. It's tiny. It's only power and lights, so that can go there. At least I think I've got enough room for the shell as well. I'm sure I do. Okay, so as I say, I am going to basically take this off and make sure that the motor is already isolated, or if it's not isolated, I need to isolate it. Right, we have removed our little circuit board and I don't think I'm going to use it. Generally, I like to use these if there's a void below it, but obviously I can just mount my decoder directly to that now. Basically, all that this was doing was connecting these two wires to that one and those two wires to that one. This thing just made it a bit neater. Okay. Let's move on to our decoder and see where all the wires need to go. If you've not seen a Digitrax DH126 install before, then I'll try and make this as simple and as clear as possible. So all these decoders come with their own specific instructions. This will be the fourth one that I think I've installed, so I'm kind of getting used to the colouring. And thankfully, this Bachmann wiring is exactly what we need forget about those two middle ones for now. They're not quite exactly what we need. So on this particular decoder, which we'll plug in there once we're ready, we have green and purple wires will not be used with this particular decoder. Now, I made the mistake in a previous install of cutting these right down, but someone pointed out to me, if I change the decoder at some point in the future, then I've completely messed it up because I won't be able to use these wires. So although they're not getting used in this install, they might get used in the future, so I'm not going to cut them too short, but they don't need to be that long. They'll just get in the way. So I've trimmed them off for now, put them somewhere safe. And by safe, I mean my big box of wires. That leaves us with these wires, which are 7 of. We have a black wire, which thankfully enough will join these two wires together. We have the red wire, which will join the two outer red wires together. We have the orange and the grey, which are the wires that are now going to go to the motor. So you've got your power coming in from the rails with those two and those two. They go into there, go into the decoder, and then the decoder sends out the signal via the orange and the grey wires to the motor wires. The orange goes to the red, the black goes to the grey. That will leave us with 3 wires: the white, the yellow, and the blue. White wire will be going to the negative of the front headlight. Yellow will be going to the negative of the rear headlight. And the blue is a common positive that will join the positive of the front and the positive of the rear headlight. Gotcha? Right. Let me prep these wires for surgery, because obviously they don't need to be that long, and we'll start soldering stuff together. Okay, I've reconsidered using this, and I think I will use it after all. But I need to remove the wiring I had going to the lighting, because I'm not going to be using it in this fashion, shall we say. So let's get that off. Let's get that off. So I'm going to reconnect the front red and black, the rear red and black, and that means that this bar here will be joining the front to the rear trucks, there and there. Then I will attach the power in wires to the decoder, which will be the red and the black, to there and there. And then these wires that are going to be coming through this little hole here will get attached to the orange and the grey. And that will just keep it all nice and neat and tidy. So let me resolder them, and then we will go on to the next step, which will be the lighting. Okay, progress update. We now have our left rail attached to this bus bar all the way along here. I'm going to call it a bus bar, you can call it what you want. But basically that pickup is connected to that pickup, so front and back left. And those pickups, the black wires, are connected through this wire here. They get soldered then onto the black and the red going into the decoder. Remember, the decoder is going to sit like this. Once the decoder's done its thing, it sends the power out to the motor via the orange wire, which goes to the red wire to the motor, and the grey wire, which goes to the black wire of the motor. So technically, we could actually put this in the track, make sure it works. Yeah, let's do that. Why not? Right, I've plugged in my decoder. Trainer's in the track. I just realised something though. I think we're on backwards. This is generally my hot wire or hot side, which is what I've got here, but that is the front of the loco. Oh well, don't worry, we'll make sure it works first. So we'll select loco number 3 because the decoder is set to 3 from factory. Give it some speed, see what happens. There we go. It's working. Make sure reverse is working. Direction. Lovely. Okay, right, back to the bench. I need to swap over these 2 wires so that it runs in the right direction. And then we should be good to go, and we'll move on to the light wiring. So I have now swapped over this red wire and that black wire on that side so that it's now red on black and black on red. Loco's pointing forward, but look what happens. We are in forward and the loco goes backwards. So it looks like I actually have to reverse the wires, the orange and the grey wires going to the motor. Isn't that frustrating? So I'm going to put these wires back the way they came, or back the way they were, and swap over the 2 ones, which is really frustrating because I've got heat shrink on them and everything. Right, let's see if that works. Right, third time lucky. My black wire is back on its black bus, my red one's back in its red, and I've swapped these 2. So the grey is going to the red, the orange is going to the black. We are in the forward position. Please go forward this time. Thank you. That is really strange, but there we go. Don't trust wire colours. And that's reverse, and it says reverse. We're all good. Okay, onto the lights. So white goes to front headlight negative. I'm going to have to chop these wires out. Let's see. Front light, make sure we're round the right way. Don't want to get caught out again. Snip them off. Let's see, we're going to keep the positive together because they have got a common positive, and that will be the blue wire. We'll get to that in a sec. So, white, oh my goodness. White wire is going to go to this black wire, which is my front headlight, negative. These LEDs that I'm using are already pre-wired with resistors, just in case you were wondering. So let's see then. This white wire has to go to that black wire. And I want my decoder to sit about there. You know what, let me grab some double-sided tape and we'll just plonk that on there for now. It does seem quite high, doesn't it? Also notice that my little black wire came off. So you can get soldered back on immediately before I forget. Tell you what I'm going to do is just make sure the shelf still fits with that there, otherwise we'll need to relocate it somewhere else. Trying not to lose my patience. I don't want to cut those wires until I'm absolutely sure of the length that I need. But they're getting in my way. The problem with this type of loco is you don't have a lot of width. Troublemaker. Okay, it does go on eventually. Right, okay, I can continue. Now I need to try and yank it off again. Right, where were we? Okay, so I've got those wires soldered back on. They're all okay, they're all okay. I've not ripped them off. So I do still need to put the heat shrink on these wires because I wasn't completely convinced that it was going to work there. So let me shrink them on. Okay, now, where was I? Black has to go to white for the headlight negative. That should be enough of the room there. Why am I not using my wire strippers? Yeah, these are great, but they're not generally good with smaller wire. But this wire isn't that small, so I don't know what was I thinking? Right, need to trim that a wee bit. It's a bit lumpy. Strip you down a wee bit. Get a bit of heat shrink tubing at the ready. Slide you over there. Bit of flux. Don't know what's happened there. Let's not be wibbling about when I'm trying to solder you. I know there isn't a lot of room down there, but there's plenty of room up here, so I think we'll be good. Where's my solder gone? Having one of those days, guys. Oh, there he is. Clean my iron a wee bit. It's getting a bit manky. What was I doing? Solder, right. Get my heat shrink tubing over there. Get that nice and insulated. Okay, so that is the front headlight negative. Now I need the rear headlight negative attached to the black wire at the rear. Let's chop this down a bit here. Use my wire strippers. Strip the black one down a bit. Bit of tubing. Bit of flux, a bit of tinning, I think. And let's join those together. Just jumped back at the last second there. Sorry, I started whispering there. You know, it's like you start talking to yourself when you're concentrating. Okay, one wire left and we'll be done. And that is the blue common positive, which is going to connect to both the positives, front and rear, on the headlights. Trim that one back. Cut this one back here. Trim you down. As usual, bit of flux. Bit of tinning. And you're going to get joined there. Right, I need to find one more piece of heat shrink. One final dab of the old Fluxerini. Make sure I get enough solder on the iron. Get you joined together. This is a really awkward angle. That's better. Like that. Heat shrink over the two of them. And our wiring is done, so now we just need to cram it all inside and hope we don't snag anything. This is why I've kept the wires as short as I could, and also insulated so that if you do jam them up against each other, they're not going to short out. Just a wee final visual check to make sure everything's where it should be. Nothing getting caught on the way in. I think we're good. Nothing snagging my trucks. I suppose we should try it before we screw it all together though, hey? Just in case. Oh, come on. Let's be positive. Let's get these screws back in and get the fuel tank back on. I am a dangerous optimist, in case you didn't realise that already. Fuel tank clips on. And we're done. Right, track for 100% perfection. We are on. Okay, Loco 3, speed, direction forward. Oh, first thing we should do actually is check the lights, so which is that button there. We have front lights. That's a good sign. We shouldn't have back lights at the moment. We don't. Okay, forward. Oh, too fast. I'm still getting used to this controller. I can either turn the knob, but it's not very precise because I need to change CV values and stuff. But I can use this little plus, minus and plus sign here, and that will change the speed one increment at a time. So let's change it to reverse. Oh look, my wee lights come on. Right, let's go. 1 increment of speed. 2, 3. See how much smoother that is. 4, 5. -1, -2. And off. Change direction again. Light comes on. Forward. Excellent. So it looks like I've not ruined my favourite loco. I was worried that converting this to DCC might do something horrible to it, but it seems to be fine. Now, there's one more thing I'd like to do before we finish, and that is to change the address. So it's currently at number 3. Let's change the address to 4132. Now, I thought I had to do this on a programming track, but apparently not. We just hit program and it's got program track. If I hit program again, that will change to main, program main, right? I don't have anything else DCC on the track. Those two are DCC, but those 2 lines are switched off at the moment. So we're on program main track, okay? So let's press enter. So that's the number of loco it's currently assigned to. So I press it again, it'll ask me for the new number. What did I say? 4132. So type in 4132, enter that. Made some wee noises. So now it knows it's number 4132. Next thing I want to do is change the acceleration number. So I'm going to set that at 50. I think the higher the number, the slower it accelerates, but we'll start with 50. All locos are different, I've noted. So hit enter for that, and then for decelerate, we'll put 50 again. 50, enter. TV, I think that might be like terminal velocity or something. I don't know, I'm still learning. And CV, don't know what, I'm not touching that one either. So now, when I turn the knob, it won't immediately shoot off, right? So I'm going to turn it up to maybe 20 or so, right? Notice it's not moved yet. That's because I've set the accelerate to really slow. It will eventually move. Except it won't because I'm still in Loco 3. Right. Loco 4132, enter. Oh, I also want to change the speed step to 128. I know this all seems really confusing, but I'll go through this whole system in detail in the future, okay? Right, now when I turn the speed up to like 20, you'll see what I mean. So the speed is currently at 39, but it's going to gradually accelerate up to that. And that's all down to that CV value in accelerate. So that's taken a long time to speed up. So I might change that 50 value down to maybe 30 or something. So now if I turn it all the way off, right, so there's no power going to the loco, and it's going to take a while to slow down. And this is where the whole realism thing comes in. Because I'm not controlling this speed at all. It's going to gradually slow down by itself, which is pretty awesome. Isn't that great? I'm very pleased with this. If you didn't know about this, by the way, I got this from Greg Dean. Link up there, you'll see the unboxing, but I've got a lot to learn. So I'm going to bring him back, direction, reverse, and it will do the same in reverse. I'm putting the speed all the way up to like 46 there. He's only just started to move. The light's working perfectly. So I'm going to turn the speed all the way off. And he's probably not going to stop until he gets like down to about there. Yeah, I think I need to adjust that decelerate down to maybe 20 or 30 because that's taking ages. It's going to bypass its drop-off points. So there we go, another flawless install by Dave. One day I'll get it right first time. Every time I do one, I'm just gaining a wee bit more knowledge. I tell you what, I'm totally loving this whole DCC thing. I know it's not for everyone, but the amount of control and all the different functions. The DCC part is a hobby in its own, to be honest, and I've only just scratched the surface. Okay, I have some good news. It's in this box over here, hold on. I have another controller, another decoder, sorry. So Lehigh Valley is getting the next decoder. This one's going to look really nice because it currently doesn't have any LEDs. So I think with a nice white LED in the front, not sure what I'm going to do in the back. I might just poke it through that little window in the door. I don't really want to drill holes in this because it's a really nice model. I think it's like a Proto 1000 or something. So he's getting that decoder, and that'll be next Tuesday. See, there's no losers in my model railway. Everyone's a winner. Thanks for watching. I will now couple this up to a few goods wagons, possibly even the CSX, and see if I can try that whole speed matching thing. Someone did request that. Take care, everyone. I'm away to play with my trains again. Bye.